Hey, hockey fans and families, we've got something to tell you about NHL Sense Arena, our title sponsor. They're rolling out a monthly off-season training pack program with guided objectives for both players and goalies to help kids stay motivated and improve all summer long so they can come back ready, not rusty for next season. It all starts right now in June with the new Elite Campus Prep Training Pack, which features drills and training plans inspired by top colleges, junior teams, and elite hockey programs. And players who compete all the monthly training plans will unlock a limited edition virtual jersey and badge for their Sense Arena locker room. Plus, you'll get entered into a chance to win a special prize at the end of the month. They are always thinking of new stuff over there at Sense Arena. And remember, there's a ton inside the platform, including regular competitions and contests, 3-on-3 NHL games in VR, new training updates, of course, Dangle Pro, something we love here. We've shown you that online. But best of all, NHL Sense Arena is continuing that off-season pricing, just $299 for an entire year of unlimited training for both skaters and goalies with up to 4 unique user profiles. So if you've got siblings or you've got multiple kids, this is for you. Visit nhl.sensearena.com/OKPH and you'll get an additional $25 off on top of the off-season pricing. That's pretty cool. And that's basically a free month of NHL Sense Arena for our listeners. So this is something you're going to want to check out. It is a tool for your hockey player. Speaking of tools for your hockey player, let's get you into this episode of Our Kids Play Hockey. Hello, hockey skaters and goalies around the world, and welcome back to another edition of The Ride to the Rink. It's Lee and Mike with our good friend Mike Knuble here today. Mike played a lot of years in the NHL. He knows what he's talking about. And kids, one of the things we want to talk to you about today is the need, I'm going to use that word, for you to get outside and get creative with the game, to get outside and have some free play, to get outside and work on your game without a coach telling you exactly what to do. All three of us grew up in an environment where we played on the street or we played outside or we played other sports that taught us to do things. And I wrote this down, Mike, before I throw it to you, that, we asked that question a lot of why are kids not outside that much? Well, here's the truth, kids. We started on the street. You have more access to training tools than ever before. You still have access to streets the last time I looked. When it comes to hockey IQ, you have access to the internet, which is a library of drills and videos and things you can watch. And when it comes to coaching, again, you have more access to all of it. But getting outside and just going to play is a really important aspect of the game. So, Mike, I'm going to throw it to you about why that's important. Why kids should be getting back outside?
Well, I think it's super important to be outside. And you touched on things, and kids, you're going to there's a word called transfer, right? Skill transfer. So things you do in other sports will transfer to hockey. If you're running and jumping, playing basketball, you learn how to be explosive, jump high, use your leg strength. You play baseball, you learn how to think and be patient and kind of think about your next move before it happens. You play lacrosse, you're running, moving to open space, grabbing balls. That's a great example of a sport that transfers great to hockey because you're passing, getting the pass, moving, catching pass on the run, handling the ball, throwing it to a partner, getting it back, shooting on goal, figuring out how to beat guys, playing guys one-on-one, defending one-on-one, doing that. So just because a sport isn't per se hockey itself, there's a lot of things you can do outside and to go have fun. Now, that being said, somebody's got to be the leader and somebody's got to take charge and rally the guys to get them out there, because you know what? It's really easy to sit in home and play video games and sit on your computer and be on your iPad. You got to find a group of guys or girls and get them to go outside and meet you outside. And it might be one or two to start. It might be one or two kids to start. But once you guys play and you have fun and you're laughing and enjoying each other and having a good time, guess what another kid's going to do? He's going to see you outside your window in your neighborhood, and he's going to be like, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to join these guys. Next, you have 4 guys that are girls, and then you have 5, and then you have 6 and 7 and 8. Now you got 2 games going, and now you got a bunch of guys and girls and out there. So don't think just because you're not on the rink or at the arena that any of this stuff doesn't transfer. So all these things you can do outside just help you be a better athlete all the way around.
It's just a funny thing, right? I never hear lacrosse guys say, I got to go use hockey to make me a better lacrosse player. But we often we definitely use hockey as other sports to make me a better athlete. But can you just really quickly talk about, because you've had kids go through the sport and yourself playing at a very high level, how important is just to do something that's not getting you better at hockey? Like, how important is it just to get and go out and do something that has nothing to do with the hockey development, but just something to put your mind and body like in a different place altogether?
Yeah, that's absolutely key, because you can't, kids, you can't be consumed 24/7. You need some stuff. And for a lot of people, that's like golf. People like to golf, go fishing. Fishing's one you can do with your buddy that, a buddy at school, it might not be a great athlete, but everybody can fish. And that's really fun. And thinking about trying to catch fish and trying your lures and, getting out there with your pole and just being quiet and, learning, looking at a frog, looking at the frogs after a while. You go check out the frogs and see watch them turn from tadpoles to frogs. That's just being a kid, and having fun. So, there's this big push to, you got to get better at sports all the time. You got to do this and that. No, you don't. You can be a kid too. And that's just as important. And, maybe, for our kids, they played a lot of golf, and they like to play golf and, going swimming with your buddy down at the lake, and we're lucky we have a little lake, in the area, and your buddy with a pond, even, as long as you go swimming with your buddy and be a kid and riding bikes around and doing that. So it's, getting away from it is just as good, and just playing catch with your buddy, throwing a baseball around with your dad. Say, Dad, let's grab our gloves, just play catch in the backyard. I used to love that, doing that with my kids, just playing catch, and I'm going to say, okay, here comes my splitter. Watch this one move. That doesn't move at all. Watch my curveball. It's still straight. Yeah, but they like to talk a little smack and, throw them grounders and little one hoppers and have fun with it too. And that's just 10, 15 minutes, but all that stuff will be, it's great stuff. And again, being a kid and keeping your mind fresh and getting away from the rink is too, not seeing the rink for a while is really good. Your mind comes back and you'll find yourself excited to get back to the rink. And that's a big deal. And that's just as important as well.
I'll make this point too. These are great points, guys, that, kids, if you can't find anybody to play with, maybe go to mom and dad and ask, hey, will you go outside with me and do this? And I'll make this point too. Mom and dad, if they come to you and you're on your phone and you're like, oh, hold on a second, you're teaching them that behavior. When my kids come to me, and it's hard sometimes, like, hey, Dad, can we go out and do this thing? And I might be tired. I typically go, you know what? Yeah, I'll give a funny one to all you kids that just popped back in my mind. My daughter had a softball game, right? And my daughter plays hockey, and that's her favorite sport. We had a softball game, and it started raining, and they called the game. And she ran up to me, kids, and she said, Dad, can we practice a little bit? And I'm standing out in the rain with not rain clothes. Yeah. And you know what, kids? I said, you know what? Yeah, let's go hit some balls. And we stood out there in the rain and just practiced and had a great time. So to the parents, to the kids, it's important to do those things together, all right? Not just for the sport, but it's important for you to do it as well. Mom, dad, stepmoms, all of it. Go ahead.
I was going to touch on that earlier in our segment. I said this whole thing that there's so much focus on the kid, but it's a family thing, it's a development thing, and parents, you have to be involved. You do. You have to. If your kid says, "Hey, I want to get a net. I want to shoot pucks in the yard. In the backyard." Then you're gonna have to get out and find a net. Yeah, you're gonna have to either make one out of wood. I don't know. You got to figure out. Your kid's telling you what he wants. Like, get out there and do it. It's part of being a parent, right? And all their development isn't on them as well. It's on you. You got to help facilitate. Now, like you said, you can get creative. You got to think a little bit here too, man. You can't afford a new net or something like that, and then build one out of wood. You can find something around. I'm sure you got a crafty friend that can throw something together for you and give him a case of beer to put your net together for you. I appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, my kid's begging me. I got to do this, right? So, as a parent, there's a role too. And kids, don't be shy to ask your parents to do that. And parents out there, if your kid asks you, do it. Like, help them out. Get involved and help them out. And help them be the player, the person they can be.
Well, and I'll round this out. We'll bookend it by your point too, buddy. It's not about the resources. It's about being resourceful. There are no shortage of training aids today. The three of us, none of them existed when we were growing up. Not one of them. And we found a way to play. You could hit paper plates. You could hit a spot on the wall, but you find a way to make it work. And that imagination, that creativity plays into this too. But Mike, I love your message of all of us working together here in the family environment. And again, siblings too, to make that happen. So, all right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Ride to the Rink. Kids, listen, heed the advice of Mike Knuble. He knows what he's talking about. And remember, wherever you're out in your hockey journey, we believe in you. You should too. We'll see you on the next Ride to the Rink.